Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses Missing, available on Amazon, paperback and ebook, coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a sweet psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on life of David, including Thursday Quiz of Pains and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword sweet psalmist Serena Wagner, and check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, also on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and your favorite audio platform and more. We're here with an amazing gentleman who's an author, publishing trailblazer, and literary maverick with a remarkable journey as a criminal trial attorney, social worker, therapist, professor, and mindfulness teacher. We'll talk more about that. Also a columnist, happiness coach, and also diverse in various spiritual paths, and draws extensive experiences from his profession to help others discover their clarity, resilience, and peace. His story is basically of reinvention and resilience. We'll be talking about two books, Children of Abraham and I'm the Way, live, ladies and gentlemen, in the Plus Studios, vacationing in beautiful Costa Rica, originally from North Carolina. It's really beautiful out there. I wish we were there. The amazing author, publishing trailblazer, literary maverick, a story of reinvention and resilience with his two books, Children of Abraham and I'm the Way, the multi-talented Bob Martin. Bob, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thanks for having me. And what a great platform. We're going to be all over the world. I'm so excited.
Well, it's great to have you on board, too. Even in Costa Rica, it gets to be heard, which is great about this. It's so amazing. Yeah. So you're an author, publishing trailblazer, literary maverick who remarkable journey as a criminal trial attorney, social worker, therapist, and a professional professor in mindfulness. You also are a columnist, happiness coach, and diverse in various spiritual paths. You draw extensive experience from your professions to help others discover their experience, clarity, resilience, and peace. You have two books called Children of Abraham and I'm the Way. You also works as stint as a prosecutor under Janet Reno during Miami's cocaine era. Before getting on with your two books and your amazing story, Bob, tell us how you first got started.
First got started in what?
Way back machine, way back, Bob. Think
Way
of it. It's like
back? Way back?
remember Sherman, Mr. Peabody, into the time machine, or if you're into Doctor Who, into TARDIS, good doctor.
Well, just to give you like a frame of reference, my growing up years, the elementary school years, just to give you a frame of reference, those were the Eisenhower years.
Eisenhower years. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
So
way
I mean,
back. Good thing.
that goes way back. I was born in 1950, and so yeah, my growing up years were the 50s, and then my high school years were the 60s, and my college years were the 60s and 70s, and so all that hippy dippy stuff. That was
Oh
all
yeah, I
part of my
remember that.
upbringing.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. George Carlin alike. Yes.
Yeah,
Bill
yeah,
Cosby
yeah.
as a youngster too, so he was into it.
Yeah, those were all the influences. Those were all the influences that had. But if you want to go way back and ask me, like, what were some of the big influences in my life back from those days, I would say, there were two books that made a big difference in my life. One of them was To Kill a Mockingbird.
Hmm.
And Atticus Finch, the lawyer in the book, he was what I would call a quiet hero. He was a humble, quiet, confident hero who just, he did the right thing without any fanfare. It was just, you just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And he stood up for justice and fairness. And I don't know, I read that when I was early teenager, like 13 or 14, and I just fell in love with the guy. And I guess that might be why I eventually became a lawyer. And the other book that had a big influence on me was Don Quixote de la Mancha, Man of La Mancha, Don
Oh
Quixote.
yeah, my favorite, especially a movie. Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, to dream the impossible dream. And this guy was another one who was, he was a crazy dude, but, he was going to stand up for honor and for justice, and fighting against these windmills, which he thought were great demons in his craziness. But nevertheless, that backbone of righteousness. It was something that affected me, and so I think those were two big influences in my life. And I would have to say there's one other that I ought to mention, and it was a guy named Dennis Giese.
Who's he?
Dennis Giese was my eighth grade English teacher.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't remember any of the details of it, but one day in class he held up a composition I had written, and he just went on and on about how great it was. And
Wow.
I think that probably laid the seed for me to become a writer. So
Interesting. Oh, thanks to your eighth grade teacher.
yeah, thanks so much. And actually, in my second book, I dedicated it to him.
Okay, and that's I'm is that the I am the way or children
I
of
am
Abraham?
the
Which
way.
one? I am the way. Okay, all right. So I just want to
Mhm.
get that clear here. So yeah, keep going here. So I just wanted to get that clear. So keep going.
Yeah, so I grew up. I was a big boy. I was in those days we called them chubby. Actually, the word that was used was husky.
Hmm.
And J.C. Penney's was the only store in town that had a husky department.
Oh, I
And
remember that. Yes, I remember the Husky department. But that was a good thing back then. It's like, Husky, it's just like, hey, that's a good thing. You're a Husky player. You're a great football player. Of course, you got the Cornhuskers, Nebraska. They take Husky to a whole new level.
yeah,
Yes, I
right.
love that word.
That's true. That's true. The only trouble was is that they weren't very good at fitting those clothes back then, and so
Oh,
they didn't fit real well. And I remember that. I also remember my mama taking me by the hand into J.C. Penney's and screaming out in her high-pitched voice, "Where's the husky department?" And embarrassing the heck out of me. Yeah, but in my just as I was coming into my middle school, eighth grade, ninth grade, I discovered that my big body was good for football.
oh
And
yes, yes, that's a
and
good thing about it. Uh-huh.
yeah, so I became a defensive back, a defensive tackle, actually, and I found that there was some use to it, and so I got a scholarship to Boston University,
Nice.
but then. In my sophomore year, I broke my ankle and I broke up with my high school sweetheart
Ouch.
in the same month.
Oh, double ouch. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. So for the rest of the year, all I did was, well, I'll be a little confessional here. All I did was kind of smoke pot and sleep. And I flunked out of Boston University. But then I went to another school and got through. And by one weird set of circumstances, I wound up applying to a law school, and one law school accepted me. And then I guess a big pivot point in my life came on the first couple of days before the first class started. And
Hmm.
we went to the bookstore and we got this pile of books that was 5 feet high, and I
Oh
said, "This is
wow.
crazy." And we're sitting around in the lounge, and everybody's saying, "What kind of a lawyer do you want to be?" And they got to me, and I didn't have any idea. I mean, I didn't even think I had a right to be there.
Hmm.
And I said, "I want to be a judge." And
Huh.
it's funny when I said those words, and then sitting in a law school and thinking, "How did I get here?" All of a sudden, it occurred to me that I might amount to something. I might have opened a door that's going to give me the opportunity to make a difference in this world.
Okay.
So I needed to take myself seriously. And I went from being a flunk out and a very mediocre student to graduating Dean's List. And got hired by Janet Reno back in, I'll tell you what year it was. It was 1976.
Oh wow. Janet
Uh,
Reno was around that time. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, she was, before she became the attorney general for the Clinton administration, she was the district attorney for Miami-Dade County. And this was the time of Scarface and Miami Vice and those guys. And Miami was like that. It was crazy. There was just it was crazy. I mean, there. If you ever see the movie or the documentary Cocaine Cowboys, they show these guys walking into banks with duffel bags full of money,
Hmm.
and it was really like that. It was really like that.
Hmm.
And so
Especially by having abundance of it too, and plus people get caught up in the trade very easily as well too. I talked to some people that said it's way too easy to get caught up in it, but trying to get out is difficult.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how you navigate it. Because we hit the mob up when I was the prosecutor. We hit the mob up for millions of dollars, 70 million.
Wow.
And I left the office shortly thereafter. And what happened, I mean, crazy. 2 weeks out of the office, I hang my shingle up, and this guy from the Italian branch of the Gambino mob comes walking into my office, Giovanni, I call him Johnny, and sits down and scared the bejesus out of me because I knew who he was because
Mm-hmm.
I had prosecuted him, his
Uh-huh.
people. And eventually it came down to this. He goes, our lawyers are pretty good and you beat them. So you must be pretty good. So we want to hire you. So it's not like I was consigliere or anything like that, but I
Hmm.
was taking all of their runners and their mules and all of their distributors. When they would get in trouble, they would get referred to me and I would be handling them. But you talk about getting out of it. You see, if you get into a situation and you're dealing with people that are, well, on the other side of the line,
Right. Uh-huh.
you have to be very clear with them about what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And you get an agreement. And surprisingly, those folks are very, very good for their word, because if you think about it, they don't really have a police force or a court system that they can sue you in.
Hmm.
So the rule is that you have to be good for your word. And as long as I told him I wasn't going to do anything unethical, I wasn't going to do anything illegal, and I explained to him that it's in their best interest because they would want to have a lawyer that was trusted and respected by the courts. And if I blew my reputation, on something that was a little bit, smelly, I wouldn't be much good to them. And they agreed, and we were able to work very well together until Johnny's son got arrested.
Oh, what happened?
Well, he basically said, I appreciate our agreement, but right now you need to do what I tell you to do.
Okay.
And I said, Johnny, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not going to create evidence. I'm not going to suborn perjury. I'm not going to do that. And so we decided that it would be better if I left Miami.
Right, exactly. Just say see you later, and off
Yeah.
you go to your other destination. And
And and
where from Miami did you go?
North Carolina. And we
North
shook hands
Carolina.
on it. We shook hands on it and we parted and I never heard from them again. They never bothered me. They were good for their word. And I got to North Carolina and it was interesting because I was able to, but I was being presented with an entirely blank canvas. I said, here I've lived. It was like 1990, so
Hmm.
I was 40 years old. I said, here I'm being presented with this totally blank canvas. Nobody knows me. Nobody knows anything about me. I can create or recreate myself any way I want. And what had happened in the meantime is that hanging out with Johnny and his friends, I'm going to admit, I was doing some of the stuff that they do, some of that white powder and I was hanging out at the nightclubs and I was ignoring my family and my life was taking a downward spiral. So I
Hmm.
was seeing a therapist and I came to this really important crossroads in my life. And I asked my therapist, well, George, what should I do here? And I expected that he was going to come back with some therapist talk like, well, Bob, what do you think you should do here?
Oh yeah, or it's like define this, define that. Go deep
Right,
inside. You're laying on your
right,
chair. Take two aspirins. Call me in the morning. Take two
right.
pills. Call me next time.
but he didn't. What he did was he picked up three coins and he shook them in his hands and he dropped them on the table and he made some mathematical calculations. And he
Hmm.
did that a number of times and he came up with a number. The number was 32.
Ah,
And then he reached behind himself and he got a book out and he turned to chapter 32 and he showed me. And the title of the chapter was Retreat.
interesting.
So I looked at it and I cursed him out because I thought that my therapist had become some kind of fortune teller. And I stomped out of the room, said, F you, and stomped out of
Right,
the room.
yeah. Or call him Dr. Quack afterwards.
Dr. Quack. And yeah, but that was the best advice I ever got. And so I pulled back from a lot of those excessive behaviors and I came back and I asked him what that was. And he said, well, that's the I Ching. The I Ching is a book from Taoist philosophy. And it means the Qing always means a classical book, and the I means changes. So this is the classical book of changes, and it encapsulates. Well, you know the Tai Chi symbol, the Yin Yang symbol.
Uh-huh.
Well, most people don't know what the significance of that is. And what it is, there's a white side and a black side, but the black side has a white dot in it and the white side has a black dot in it. But the dot isn't a dot, it's a seed. It's a
Mm,
seed. In yin is the seed of yang, and in yang is the seed of yin. And eventually that seed will grow and it will take over, and yin will take over yang, and yang will take over yin. And what it symbolizes is the cycling of the universe that day turns to night, and night turns to day, winter turns to summer. But what most people don't understand is that it also goes to human behavior. Like good
mm-hmm.
times become bad times become good times. And there are appropriate ways to act at the different
Mm-hmm.
points of the cycle. And what Taoism teaches you is it teaches you how to recognize where you are on the cycle and then how to align yourself to be most effective and efficient.
Mm.
So I was captivated by this because I didn't grow up in a religious family. And then I found out that my therapist, George, was the English language editor for Master Watching Ni. Dig this, a 72nd generation Grand Master from the Shaolin Temple.
Wow.
Wow. And and Master Ni came to Miami the next week and I met this guy and he just blew me away. You just meet him for a second, and Mike, the only way I can describe meeting him is usually when you look at me or I look at you, we're aware of the fact that I'm looking at your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Master Knee, it doesn't look like he's looking at your eyes. It looks like he's focused on something like 4 inches behind your eyes.
Interesting. It's like
I
eyes
mean,
back of the head take on a different meaning.
yeah, it's like he looks right into you. And I just said, I want to know what this guy knows. So I studied under Master Knee for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just when Giovanni's son got arrested. And so, with this transformation that had occurred with Master Knee and moving to North Carolina, I truly had an opportunity to reinvent myself, yeah, on many levels. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
And you do a great
so,
job of it as well, too, with all the spiritual traditions. And I was going to mention early, like, winter, summer, and everything like that. And things change. It made me think of Ecclesiastes, a time to born, a
mhm,
time to die. There's a
that's
time
right.
for everything, and made me think of song "Turn, Turn, Turn" by the
Right.
Birds. A time for this, a time for that, and everything. And you also accomplish a balance as well, too, especially in books. Children of Abraham and I'm the Way. And how's he do it? We'll find out more with author Bob Martin. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1 800 303 3960. That's 1 800 303 3960 or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon, paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. And Eve 11 Tours by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a sweet psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. The sweet psalmist gives a new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote as the time of shepherd where it started and complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the sweet psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Follow us on Facebook, Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, BitChute, YouTube, iHeartRadio, more. And for great gift ideas like t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with amazing author, publishing trailblazer, and one-time criminal attorney in Miami, Bob Martin, here on the Mike Wagner Show. He's a story of reinvention and resilience. And before we talk about 2 books, Children of Abraham and I Am the Way, we discussed earlier about with the transformation, Tai Chi, and everything. But of course, you got to figure out a balance. And how do you manage this balance? Like with say in the Western Christianity, Eastern philosophy. So how do you manage to blend this all together, especially in your writing?
Well, I had a big motivator, and that is once I came to North Carolina, who I was a little different than the first wife that I married. And so we divorced, but then I found my second wife, who I've been married to now for coming on 25 years. And
oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. She is an absolute saint. In Buddhism, we use the word bodhisattva. And Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva. That sounds like a Steely Dan song. Is that right? Bodhisattva. It made me think, it's like, now I know what it means. Thank you, Steely Dan.
And but she is she was a Southern Baptist, and she is a Bible literalist. So we connected on our values and what we wanted to accomplish with our lives, but I thought that I couldn't buy into her science, the world 4,000 years old, Adam and Eve, and creationism and the like.
Right.
And
of course, the snake in the apple. So that's what everybody still says, snake in the apple.
And original sin and eternity in hell. Those were foreign concepts to me. And she just thought my stuff was just weird. So we really didn't have much to talk about in terms of, our cosmologies. But one day she was telling me what, she was into a, what would Jesus do conversation.
Right. WWJD. I remember that.
Right. And I was thinking Lao Tzu, Laotzu, was the author of a book called the Tao Te Ching, which, again, Qing means a classical book, Tao means the way, and Te means virtue. So this is the classical book of the way of virtue. And it is 81 short one-page chapters that really become, it is without a question, a operating manual for how to live a human life.
And this is a book, I Am the Way, right?
No.
I'm sorry.
This is the book by Lao Tzu, which is kind of like the seminal main book of Taoism. But she would tell me a little bit about something where she was talking about what Jesus would do. And I was thinking, well, Lao Tzu gave the same lesson in chapter 42. So I would go back and look at my readings, and I was think, well, this is exactly the same lesson. It's just expressed differently. So maybe I could take the old Chinese pithy poetic lesson and transform it, reimagine it in Christian terms. So, I mean, the Taoist concept of a divine force is the Tao, which literally means the way. So, and in Christian terminologies, we're talking about the Lord or God. So maybe if I just translated the Tao to the Lord or talked about God in those terms. So I started playing with it. And again, I love to write. I started playing with it and I made that transition and I showed it to her and she goes, yeah, I get it. She said, where did you get this? And I said, well, that was chapter 41 from the data. He said, let me see it. Let me see it. So she read it. And when she read it, after reading the Christian version of it, she goes, oh, I get it. This isn't so weird. It was just the way that it was expressed.
Or,
So
or,
she
or just
goes,
simply wrote different from a different perspective or different mind frame, wavelength, and everything like that.
so I said, well, let me write another one. And she said, this is great. And I wrote another one. So all of a sudden, it started becoming like a Rosetta Stone. It translated our cultures for us. And I continued to write them. And finally, I completed all 81 chapters. And then, like out of the blue, a publisher heard about it and they said, we want to publish your book. And
Nice.
now it's out there, and the cool part about it is I'm getting letters from all over the country from folks who say, I left the church because of the my way or the highway and that original sin and eternity in hell. I couldn't buy into that. But I've read this and it has reintroduced me to my love and my relationship for Jesus and God. And I said, well, that's wonderful. And so that was just a blessing.
Oh my gosh, that certainly is. It makes you want to pick up the book. And what was that book again? Maybe readers
It's
can
called,
like,
it's called, well, it's a little play on words because remember, the Tao means the way. And Jesus said, I am the way. So maybe Jesus was really saying, I am the Tao. I
I
don't
am the
know.
Dow. By the way, the Dow is not the Dow Jones, guys. For those who worship money, it's not the Dow Jones.
Yeah, it's TAO.
Right. Yeah. So we want to get that clear to everybody here for those who interpret as well too. And I think that's great. Exploring interfaith spirituality, harmony, creating a bridge, and everything else. You also got Children of Abraham as well too. And about your first book, and that seemed to really take off your writing career.
Yes, it did. It did. And the interesting part, and for those would-be authors out there, I want to say that writing a book is maybe a third of the battle. Getting it
Uh-huh.
published is the other two-thirds. Finding somebody to do it. And so when I first wrote Children of Abraham, it's a novel and it's a thought experiment. And I was thinking after 9/11, and everybody, the Shia and the Sunni and our forces and our allied forces, everybody was running around killing in the name of God. And I was thinking, if God was up there and if God thought like we do and if he spoke in English,
Mm-hmm.
then he might be looking down thinking, yeah, not really what I intended for you guys. You
Right,
know,
exactly. And that's where he says, okay, make corrections. Boom, boom, boom.
Right. And so in the book, I bring God down to earth through little messages that are left on the ticker on the bottom of your TV. Like, you're all my children,
Oh,
God,
yeah,
or
like
I
the stock
created.
market, baseball
Right,
scores, and all
right,
that.
right,
Yes.
right.
Uh-huh.
So messages from God start showing up, and the thought experiment, the book is about would that really make a difference in the world? Who would listen? Who would change their behaviors? What kinds of faults are redeemable? Which ones may not be? So those are the questions that we explore in that book, and it's a pretty fast paced novel. It's got seven characters. Each one of them has one of the flaws of the seven deadly sins.
Hmm.
and they all interact, and they're all from different religions, and so I had a lot of fun writing it. But then I tried to get it published, and I beat my head against the ground, and so I decided I'd self-publish it. And man, I tell you, you get into that world, and if you don't know anything about it and you don't have a good guide, the sharks will come along and they'll just eat you up. I need
Right. Yeah. And it's not
two
the Jaws version, too, if you're wondering about
not
that
the
for the
Jaws
Shark Week
version.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah, no, these guys, they want publicity, and they want this guy and a consultant and this guy, and the money was just bleeding out, and so but I self-published it, and it didn't do too badly. The cool part about it is that once I got this new book published, which was just a couple of years ago, the publisher said, "Well, let me see your other book." And now she's re-released it under their brand.
Nice. Okay. So that's amazing experience between self-publishing and the traditional publishing. I mean,
Oh,
you have
huge,
control of
huge
it,
difference.
but then it's like if they pick up a book, traditional publishing seems to be a better way to go. So maybe you
If
can
you
also
can.
explain the difference, self-publishing, traditional publishing, especially all the beginning authors out there, what would be the best route for them? Your
Well,
advice.
there's a new breed of publishers called hybrid publishers.
Okay.
And this is a good combination between self-publishing and traditional publishing. It is they're usually niche houses, and they'll ask you for a small fee to cover the editing and the creation process. You might be talking about anywhere from $600 to $900, and that is your total expense. You
Nice.
don't,
Okay.
at your total expense. And from there on, they publish it, they get it into all the houses, they put their sales force into action, they get you on the shelves, they provide you with promotional materials and the like. And the ability to get them to listen to you is a little bit better than it is in the traditional houses. Not as good as self-publishing, because all you need to do to get self-published is spend money. You don't have to be good. You don't have to have a well put together book, or even a marketable book. If you want to spend the money on it, you can become self published. But the hybrid is kind of like something in the middle. And so
Mhm.
it's a great place to get started for a new writer.
Now, how much control do you have when it comes to hybrid publishing? Because self-publishing, you have total control. Traditional publishing, it's in the hands of the traditional publisher. How much control do you have when it comes to hybrid publishing?
They will that you I mean they you surrender your copyright to them. They own it, but they in the agreement they will give it back to you on request. So
Oh,
so
okay.
so
So,
there's a hybrid version there, and they pay you much better
oh, nice.
than Amazon. Like Amazon might put a book up for 19.95. I don't know how much Amazon pays, but I know a hybrid publisher I was talking to, they paid $5 on a $19 book, and they
Wow.
paid $3 on an ebook commission, and they
Hmm.
take care of all the expenses. So it's a pretty good it's a pretty good commission. It's about 30%. They pay about 30%, whereas traditional publishers really only pay about 15 or 20%.
And then self-publishing is what percentage would that be about? Maybe
Well,
like same range or
self-publishing,
something?
generally, you pay a fee for the printing, and whatever you make, you make. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, just want to check on that one.
yeah.
So the hybrid, you just get a bit more as well too, and then traditional, you would get about a smaller percentage, and then the self-publishing, you get virtually all the profits.
All the profits minus your cost for the book. So, like, say if you're selling the book for $19 and you're buying it for $5, you're making $14 on the book. But then you have to pay for all of the publicity. You have to pay for your fees to go to book fairs. You have to pay your transportation. So by the time you're done, it may not even be a profitable endeavor.
Mhm. I'm going to throw this question out you just for
Sure.
fun. What would Jesus do when it comes to self-publishing, traditional, hybrid, along with the Tai Chi? What would they do? So,
um, Well, I think Jesus would basically said, just go where you're called to go and say what you're called to say, and let God take care of it. Do the next right thing and don't worry about it, because your prayers will be answered. Um, Maybe, but then again, maybe not. I mean, you reap what you sow, and you have to put energy into it. I guess Jesus would say, just be authentic and truthful, and do the right thing.
Hmm.
And Lao Tzu would say, be aware of the time and put your energy where they're most effective.
And I think that's really important as well too, and maintain authenticity in the narratives. We'll get to
Hmm.
that with Bob Martin of Story Reinvention and Resilience with his books, Children of Abraham, I Am the Way. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses Missing, the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including theories, quiz, opinions, and King David songs. Join the journey, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with multi-talent author Bob Martin of Children of Abraham and I Am the Way after this time out. We're back with author Bob Martin. He's a story of reinvention and resilience featuring Children of Abraham. I Am the Way here on the Mike Wagner Show. And just one more thing that came to mind as well. We talk about some of the narratives, what would Jesus do and everything, and how do you maintain the authenticity in the narratives, managing practical aspects of bookmarking and distribution. So I guess that's one hurdle, maybe has to be clear somehow.
Has to be what?
Has to be clear. So how you maintain authenticity in your narratives and managing the aspects of book marketing and distribution.
Yeah. Always, yeah, it's a good question. You know, there's this balance of being compassionate, being kind, being gentle, but then there's also the other side of it is you don't want to be a wuss and you don't want to be taken advantage of.
Right. Yes.
You know, so I mean, authenticity to me is like a given. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. You just have to be. My dad always said, all you need to do is take care of your business, and then your business will take care of you. Don't worry about the outcome. Another thing he told me when he was teaching me tennis, he says, you play each point like your life depends on it.
Good point.
But don't be worried about the scoreboard. At the end of the game, the scoreboard will be whatever it is, and you just go on to the next game. So, and Lao Tzu says the same thing, give it your full effort, but don't be attached to the results. And I think that that's just good advice for everything. You, I mean, the coach for the Green Bay Packers, the famous coach Vince Lombardi.
Vince Lombardi. I'm a
Vince
big
Lombardi.
fan of the Packers. I love Vince
Yeah,
Lombardi.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
He said, all you want to do is at the end of the day make sure that you left everything on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
remember
you
that. He
win,
had
you
some
lose, that's secondary.
right. Yeah. And of course, I had some great quotes. My favorite one is winning isn't everything, it's the only thing.
It's the only thing. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And he ranks up there as well, too. In the meantime, where can we find your book set and everything else, Bob?
Well, you can find everything about me at a wise and happy life. .com, a wise and happy life.com. And actually, tonight is the second Tuesday of the month. I don't know if your podcast is going to get out that quickly, but on the second Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I have a free drop in mindfulness meetup where if you're interested in meditation, mindfulness, happiness, or anything like that, you can just come on and be part of the group and ask questions, and we sit and talk about things like forgiveness and happiness, and what does it take to live an authentic, purposeful, and meaningful life.
That is interesting. Where can we find that?
If you go to awiseandhappylife.com, you'll find a link to register for the meetup.
All right, we'll
And there's
certainly.
also a free book, an introduction to meditation, and 25 tips and tricks on how to reduce stress, and also 300 different educational and instructional handouts on different kinds of meditation and how to evaluate your happiness in your career, all kinds of stuff. It's just a bunch of free stuff.
Lots of free stuff. We want everybody to check that out. Here's the amazing author Bob Martin. He's a story of reinvention and resilience with Children of Abraham. And I'm the way here, the Mike Winter Show. Just a few more things, Bob. What else can we
Sure.
expect in 2025 and beyond?
I've got a new novel I just finished that I'm really excited about. My beta readers are telling me it's the best yet. It is a kind of a sprawling historical novel of a United States a fellow who's born before World War I in Hungary,
Oh,
gets
wow.
kicked out by the Bolsheviks, travels across Europe, eventually comes through Ellis Island, and gives the archetypical immigrant story, but he has an adversary that's interfering with his life, and the Cosa Nostra gets involved, and he has a mentor and a sidekick, and all of those. He's got an Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's got all of those typical heroes narrative journey characters in it, and I'm really excited about it.
Oh, certainly great. I'd love to have you on. And as soon as put out the book, I'd like to talk to more about that. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career? I know I asked you that, but who's your biggest influence in your career? We'd love to hear it.
Um, Judge Jerry Kogan, I would say.
Okay.
Um, a- Judge Jerry Kogan, before he was a judge, he was a lawyer, and I was an intern, just in third year of law school, an intern in this DA's office in Miami. And my supervising attorney was there, and we were doing some preliminary hearings. And Judge Kogan, well, he was Jerry Kogan then, he walked in, and my supervisor said to me, "He's going to beat your ass." Excuse my language. And I said, "Why? I've got a good case here, and I've got this, and I've got it all lined up, and I'm ready." "No, I got this one." He goes, "No, he's going to beat your ass." And we went in and we had the hearing. And I don't know how he did it, but he beat my ass. And I just said, "Who is this guy, and how did he do that? And I need to figure this out." So I became as friendly as I could as a prosecutor with him. But then when he ran for judge, as a prosecutor, I threw him a couple of barbecues and some other things because I just really wanted him to be a judge. And it's very unusual for a prosecutor to do something like that. And he never forgot it. And he became my mentor
Nice.
all through those years. And can I tell you one of the things that he told me?
Uh-huh, sure.
Okay. So in the criminal justice building in Miami, there were 14 felony trial courts.
Mm-hmm.
And on Monday mornings, it was crazy because the entire calendar for the week in every one of the courts got called, and all of the cases that were set for that week in the 14 different courses on two different floors, probably 110 defendants in each courtroom.
Oh, wow.
It was like a war room. The air conditioning couldn't keep up with the body heat. There are papers strewn everywhere. Just imagine. But you go down to Jerry Kogan's courtroom, and everybody had a seat, and it was cool, and it was going along apparently slowly instead of all heated. And I went in to see him in his chambers once, and I said, "Judge Kogan, have you ever walked around here on a Monday morning and seen the craziness? And how come your courtroom's like an oasis?" And he said, "Yeah, Bob, I've noticed that. And I tell you, it's like this. Life is a question of timing. If you try to pick an apple before it's ripe, you're going to struggle and twist, and it's going to come off hard. And when you finally bite into it, it's sour.
Hmm.
And if you wait too long, it's going to drop and rot. But if you pick it just right, it comes off easy and it's sweet. Now, these other judges, they get emotionally involved in the cases and they resist requests to suspend it. But most of these cases, sometimes they need to be suspended. Other cases need to be tried. You have to have a sense of when something is ripe and what needs to be done, and you have to be willing to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And I think that saves me a lot of time.
It's called
And
timing. And I think that is
timing.
brilliant, Bob. That is so brilliant. We want everybody to remember that. And lastly, what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, it's what I teach my meditation students. You're not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Most of us are trapped in our thoughts and we
Mm-hmm.
believe we are our thoughts. I believe when I have a judgment that is the truth, but actually that version of ourselves is so small and we're so much bigger than that because we are the creator of our thoughts. And once we understand the creative ability that we have, we just grow exponentially. And we get to realize our potential, but only once you realize that you're not your thoughts.
That is a very good point right there as well, too. We're here with author Bob Martin. He's a story of reinvention, resilience with children of Abraham, and I'm the way here on the Mike Wagner Show. Bob, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Glad to have you back. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
awiseandhappylife.com.
All right. Well, certainly check that out. Once again, Bob, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh at you back. We wish all best. And Bob, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.